Oh God, so many things on my screen. There we go. So that should be picking up on YouTube. That should be on Twitter. I think we're all over the place. So let me kick it off in a moment. Cool. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, the 24th of November. Christmas is very rapidly approaching. I don't know about you, but my diary is filling up very quickly with fun things, parties, which is useful because it's getting so cold and dark that I kind of want to leave the country right now. So we're going to be covering the latest in AI news. There was not that much over the weekend, but we have a couple of stirrings. To be fair, last week was probably the busiest news month that news week, excuse me, in AI that I've seen for a long time. So we had the launch of Grok 4.1 at the beginning of the week, which was very quickly eclipsed by the launch of Gemini 3, and then shortly afterwards Nano Banana Pro, which I'm still going to be talking about today because I think it's really important. We also had a ChatGPT model 5.1 Max. Again, that was Codex Max, excuse me. That was kind of ignored because Gemini just took the whole week. There are rumblings of a new Claude model, Claude Opus 4.5, being released either today or tomorrow. It has appeared in the API as well as on some of the other services. That is not confirmed yet. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Anthropic can release something that not only is better than the current coding agents, I think they can do that, but whether it is cost effective. So let's jump in and have a look at everything. Good morning, everybody. Did you get an Anthropic hat? No. So I went to the Anthropic pop-up, which was here in London. I hate queues. If you know anything about me, I don't do phone calls and I don't do queues. So I refuse to queue for a hat. So I do not have the hat. But I did go to the pop-up and chat to some people, but did not get the hat. Apparently people are selling them on eBay for $200 though. So I could have made quite a lot of money by selling the hats, but no, I have not got the hat, unfortunately. But I did go to the pop-up. Right, let's have a look. Let's jump straight into Anthropic. Let me move this chat bar first there. There we go. Awesome. I'm going to jump over to the YouTube live. Yes. So anyone who's on TikTok, if you go to YouTube, you're going to be able to see the screen. It's going to be much larger and it's going to be in 4K. Like everything's just going to be better over on YouTube. Hopefully TikTok don't ban me for saying that, but it's just going to be better. So let's hop in. First things first, Claude Opus 4.5 is reportedly prepared for release. Rumours suggest a Monday release, so today. It's already been hidden in Poe. So it looks like it's coming out. Publication date 24th. This was on Poe.com and it's now been hidden. So it's in release. It looks like some people found some API endpoints for it last week as well, which gave us our first inkling that we're getting 4.5. Now, if you are not sure what Opus is, Claude have they have three models. They have Opus, which is their heaviest, deepest thinking, most complicated model, also the most expensive and with the most restrictions. So Opus at the top. Then they have Sonnet, which is kind of the go-to model in the middle. That's the one that is currently the top of class for them. They have Sonnet 4.5. And then below that, they have Haiku, which is their very quick, fast acting model with less intelligence than the others. Most people just use Sonnet. Sonnet 4.5 is an absolute beast. And because it kind of sits in the middle of Opus and Haiku, it's kind of a good midpoint for most jobs. When you are working in something like Claude Code, you're primarily going to be using Sonnet 4.5. And most people use Sonnet 4.5 for coding tasks because it is the best coding agent right now. There will be some people out there who say it's Codex, some people who say it's Grok. It's not Grok. But the majority of people agree that Sonnet 4.5 is just an absolute beast when it comes to agentic coding. So Opus 4.5 will be better. That's for sure. We know it's going to be very, very, very good at coding and very good at any task you throw at it. The problem is, and this has been a problem with Opus for the last 6 months or so, limitations in usage. It costs Anthropic so much to serve up this model that they put heavy restrictions on it. So if you are on the $20 a month plan and you try to use Opus, you will hit your daily limit in a few requests. And they even added weekly limits. So sometimes it would just say, that's it, I'll see you next Monday. which if you're trying to work and integrate it into your workflow is incredibly frustrating, which makes a lot of people bounce off Anthropic and head over to ChatGPT or anything else. So the problem here with Opus 4.5, this is speculation because it's not out, is that it's going to have the same or even worse limits than the current Opus model. If that's the case, it renders it practically unusable. I don't know many people who use Opus because of this reason. So it might be the best model in the world for coding. Doesn't matter if it has huge restrictions on it, if it has rate limiting, if it has caps, or if it's just extremely expensive. So it'd be interesting to see how they thread the needle here, because now we have Codex 5.1 Max, which is very good from OpenAI. We also have Gemini 3, which people are reporting is pretty good for coding. So Claude and Anthropic had a lead on coding, which may be eroding, and I'm not sure if Opus 4.5 will be able to reclaim that lead unless they release it and they say, hey, it's cheap and we're taking the limits off it. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. We will find out hopefully today. But it is very good. Opus and Sonnet are very good. They're just restricted. Oh, that's an interesting question. Fun for You asks, what's your number one thing everyone should do when trying to build an app with AI? So it's a very boring one, but plan it beforehand. I know we have this idea of vibe coding, which is, hey, I'm just going to sit down, pour a glass of wine or whatever, and kind of vibe it out and work on a piece of software. That is absolutely fine if you are building something basic. A great example. Last night, I vibe coded an application whilst in the bath. I wanted to create, I can't reach it, but I wanted to create an Android tablet, which I can put on the wall, which has all of my follower accounts from social media. So I can see, okay, you have 100,000 here, you have whatever, 10,000 here, and I could see the number go up, and I could set myself rewards. So it's like, okay, once you hit 500,000 followers, you can go on holiday or whatever. I wanted to create that basic app, and the idea came to me in the bath, as these things do, and I was like, sorry, let's just make it. So I got my phone out and I actually vibe coded up the app in the bath. That's not a good way to to structure an application that you're going to take to market. But if you are just doing it for your own personal project, a hobby project, absolutely fine. You just vibe. You sit with Lovable, you sit with Cursor, you sit with Claude Code, and you say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about building. Let's do it. And that's absolutely fine. If you are building an application that you want to take to market, if you want to, have user creation, if you're going to start charging people for it, if people are going to be using it, maybe hundreds of thousands of people are going to be using it, you need to be a bit more structured. You need to constrain the vibing in an actual project plan. So if that is the case, sit down with a good model. I personally use Claude. I actually use Claude Opus for this. And I will say to it, hey, this is what I want to build. I want you to help me structure a project plan that I'm going to be using with my AI coding tools. And I'll give it a basic outline, and then I will say, interview me for the details that you require to work out my specification, to work out the needs of this project. And it will ask me a series of questions. I will answer those questions. I will tend to do this using voice. So I will say, okay, that's a great question, blah, 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 and I will literally respond using my voice because it keeps it nice and easy. It will then incorporate all of that feedback into the project plan. I then say, ask me again, ask me more clarifying questions. And again, it will ask me. If there's anything I don't know, like let's say it's asking a tech stack question, like yesterday I had to build a web scraper. And it was like, oh, do you want to use the Puppeteer framework or do you want to use Apify? And I didn't personally know what Puppeteer was. So I was like, oh, tell me about that. And you can do that with your AI. You just say, I don't know what that means. Please explain it to me. And then I'll answer you. So you just go through this process of pre-planning. It's pre-production before you go over to your vibe coding tool. And you use a separate AI tool for this. So personally, I use Claude, but you could use ChatGPT. Doesn't really matter. And then out of the back of this process, you're going to end up with this specification. You say to the AI, hey, cool, we've been discussing this now for the last hour. Can you capture all of this into a project specification that I can take to my vibe coding tool? And it will help you build out the the structure of the project. Then you go into Lovable, you go into Cursor, you go into Claude Code or whatever your vibe coding tool is, and you provide that project plan, and it will set up the documentation, the folders, the structure, the frameworks, etc., all based on that project plan. What this does is it saves you from working these things out on the fly, because when you do that, which you can do with vibe coding, when you do that, you're more likely to make a mess. Because let's say you begin an app and you put it in a certain framework, I don't know, JavaScript framework or whatever, and you've spent a few hours on it and it's looking pretty good, and then you decide, oh, actually, I want to add this functionality that allows people to log in using their LinkedIn account, whatever. It doesn't matter, their Fortnite account, their Lego account. And then you have to add in this new functionality and you realize like, oh, that doesn't actually work with the other things that I've been creating. This happens a lot when vibe coding, because unless you think about the whole project as a whole, things are going to conflict and start to bang into each other. So that's why doing a bit of planning beforehand is going to make your project a lot more successful than if you just purely vibe it. Again, depends what you're building. If it's just for fun, go nuts, do what you want. Especially if it's your first project, just have fun. Like it's fun to build, enjoy that process. Then as you start to get serious about it and want to produce for people, then you're going to step back and do some planning beforehand. So that would be my number one piece of advice. That's a great question. Thank you. Have you much experience running local models for coding? How about language specific models? Yes, I mean, I've run local models. I don't, it's fun. I do it as a hobby, to kind of learn how to do it. But in terms of performance, actually coding, because I don't have a gigantic computer, I don't have 10 graphics cards, it is too slow. So PewDiePie recently, or Felix Schellberg, I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation, built his own local AI machine, and he has about $20,000 worth of GPUs in it. Even that is still quite slow when you run state-of-the-art models. So local is fine, but you're going to run into processing or GPU power problems. So if you kind of want the cutting edge, Claude Code, etc., are still going to give you the better performance. If you really value security and you really want it on your local machine, absolutely do it locally, or rent a server that has GPUs. But otherwise, you are going to get degraded performance unless you buy a machine that's worth $100,000. But at that point, you might as well just get a Claude Code subscription. I find the local models struggle quite a bit with Rust, but Gemini does reasonably well. Yeah, I mean, local models, you're always going to be running into processing power issues unless you have a server rack full of GPUs, which is just getting unaffordable. So this is kind of an issue with local models and open source models as a whole. It's that they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and better and better and better, but they're becoming harder to locally host just because of that size. Maybe in the future we'll see some kind of compacting or some kind of jump in processing power available to us at home. But right now, all of the models, the focus is just scaling them up as quickly as possible, which means running them locally is becoming harder to do. And so it already requires a machine that costs tens of thousands of dollars, which for most people is out of budget, sadly. I've run Quen 30B locally. It's plenty fast enough, but the quality is not good. Yeah, I mean 30B is because 30B is a relatively small model. We think the new Gemini 3, this is Vibe Maths, but we think it's somewhere around, I think it's 12 trillion. Let's see how many. It's such a big number that I've forgotten already. Somebody vibe mathed it to. No, I'm not sure if we do know. I think it was Chubby. Let me see if I can find it. No. So we're basically moving into the trillions of parameters, though. So it's become really hard to run them at home, unfortunately. Let me see. I do want to find this. I think it was Chubby who worked. No. It was Lisan Al Gaib. There he is. There they are. Let's see if we can find that. Unfortunately, they post so much that it'd be hard to find. I'm not sure if I'll be able to find it. It's worth following Lisan Al Gaib, by the way, because they often break news and are very accurate. I don't know where they're getting information from, but they seem to break a lot of news and quite reliably. So there is speculation that it's somebody on the inside. No, I'm not seeing it. They just post so much. Let me see if I can do a search. Here we go. Should have done that before. So this is Vibe Math. Gemini 3 Pro has around 7.5 trillion parameters. So if you're going from a 30 billion parameter model up to a 7.5 trillion parameter model, there's obviously a huge delta, a huge gap between those particular models. Obviously the size, the number of parameters is not the only thing that leads to quality, but right now most large language models, this is how we make them better. We just make them bigger, bigger and bigger. But that also means that I don't know any home machine that's going to be able to run a model like this, even if it was open source. 7.5 trillion parameters is just absolutely obscene. Such a large number that I forgot it, because the numbers are getting so discombobulatingly large. It's the same with money. I keep finding myself talking about billions, like, oh, this company has invested X number of billions, and mixing up millions, billions, and trillions, because there's just such stupid amounts of money being thrown around. Mouse says trillion. Yeah, 7.5 trillion. So this is why our local models are all of a sudden like, oh, ooh. It's like, oh, we thought 100 billion was a lot. It's like, no, we're in the trillions. The game's changing too fast. It really is. Let's look at another piece of model news. 4.0 is officially being deprecated. I know this will upset quite a lot of people. The 16th of February 2026. That is when GPT 4.0 will finally be laid to rest. So as part of our continuous upgrade process, some people are going to contest that, we are deprecating the following model, GPT 4.0 latest. Access to this model will be shut off on February the 16th, 2026. Ahead of the shutdown timeline, we encourage you to explore GPT 5.1, our latest flagship model. Oh God, they know what they're doing. A lot of people are very attached to 4.0 and they prefer 4.0. So saying we encourage you to explore 5.1 is going to annoy a lot of people. We recommend GPT 5.1 for most API usage, but feel free to use GPT 5.1 chat latest to test our latest improvements for chat use cases. So yeah, 4.0 has a stay of execution. So when they released GPT 5, gosh, when was that? A few months ago. They basically said GPT-5's out. Oh, by the way, we've killed all of the 4 models. So 4.0, etc. have been taken off the GUI. You won't be able to access them. And they did it overnight. They basically just murdered it, kicked it into a shallow grave. And the backlash to that was immense because a lot of people were big fans of 4.0. And we've seen this kind of this discourse over the last few months between people who like GPT-5 and people who like 4.0. And it's been quite vituperative. The backlash was so severe that ChatGPT actually said, whoa, okay, we're going to let you use it as a legacy model. But they said it's going to be there as a legacy model. You will be able to use it for a certain amount of time, but we will get rid of it eventually. It looks like that is now happening February the 16th, 2026. So that is when 4.0 will be officially buried. So I know that's going to be upsetting news to some people. I haven't seen the backlash about this yet. I'm not sure if people have realised. They're probably trying to keep this as quiet as possible, but it will be gone for good. Grok. So Grok 4.1 Fast is now the #1 agentic coding model on the internet. This is according to Artificial Analysis, apparently. Apparently it's better than Kimi K2 Thinking, Gemini 3 Pro, GPT-5 Codex. Where's Sonnet? Oh, Sonnet's all the way down here at 78%. So this has just been published. I don't know if this is true. Lots of people are saying underneath this particular post, like, I know nobody who's using Grok. I'm the same. I can't think of anyone who uses Grok. I get people in comments and on posts when I talk about Grok who tell me they use it. That I definitely use it. I don't know anyone who's building software who's using it, who's not vibe coding using Sonnet 4.5, trying out Gemini 3 as of last week, or using Codex 5.1 from ChatGPT. They tend to be the big ones. I've personally not met anybody who's using Grok 4.1 to code. I'm sure somebody will appear in chat to tell me that they're using it. Apparently it's very good, but it's always kind of hard to tell with the discourse, because the people who like Grok are extremely they like it very aggressively, because there's a lot of Elon Musk support with it as well. So it's kind of hard to separate out the actual objective quality of the model from the people who are praising it, unfortunately. Using it every single day for coding. I'm teaching it a little, but mostly it gets it right and teaches me new tricks. Okay, so I think maybe give it a shot. The fact that it appeared on Artificial Analysis, Artificial, I wish I could spell, as #1, is a third-party benchmarking site, so there is something to it. Intelligence. So for intelligence, they've got it at 65. They've got Gemini 3 Pro at 73, followed by GPT 5.1 High at 70, followed by Kimi at 67, followed by XAI. So interestingly, they've got in their intelligence index, Grok is also ahead of Anthropic, ahead of Claude. So take of that what you will. As with all of these things, the benchmarks in these analyses are one thing, but it really depends on your personal usage and whether you find the model valuable. They're all pretty good now. So just try the models, the main models, see which one works for you, works for your workflows and the tasks that you are setting it at. And ultimately, that's going to be what matters, not what these benchmarks say. What about advanced voice mode? Will it be 4.0? No, I assume advanced voice mode will be 5. It looks like advanced voice mode is being shuttered entirely. Will 4.0 be deprecated via the UI or also via the playground? I think it's a full shuttering, but let's let me hop into my not API. What's my oh my god. Platform. There we go. Platform.OpenAI. Let's jump into here. Let's see if there's anything about it. Models 4.1. That's interesting. That's really interesting. They are frontier models. It's not there. Open weight models. Got OSS. Here we go. They've got 4.2 transcribe. 4.0 transcribe and 4.0 mini transcribe. It's really good. Really good at transcribing, honestly, and it's cheap. Text to speech 4.0. Here we go. So ChatGPT models used in ChatGPT not recommended for API use. So this is 4.0. All models. 04, no, not 04. God, these names. 01, 4.0 and 4.0 mini. So let's see if there's anything about deprecation here. I don't see anything about deprecation on platform. But this was an email they sent out saying, hey, we are getting rid of it. I do not know what's happening on platform and in the playground. Because, for example, they leave their models in place for a long time. But notice I'm sitting here. Here we go. We've got 3.5 turbo. They still have. They have DALL-E 2, but they don't have like GPT-2, for example. There's no reason to use that. They do have 3.5, so it might still be available in the platform, which is very useful if you've built products using 4.0. I've got a few that use 4.0, which otherwise you need to switch the models and retest out your prompts. But I imagine it's going to stay here in the same way that GPT 3.5 Turbo is still here. Wow, this must be really cheap now. Yeah, very cheap. Here we go. Thank you, Johnny Walker. Found it in deprecations on the platform website. That's what I'm looking at. Is there actually a deprecations page? Are they deprecating it off the... What do you mean login? I'm logged in. Oh, I'm not logged in. Are they deprecating it from the API? Oh, there it is. I found deprecations. Thank you. Deprecations. Here we go. So shutdown date. On 18th of November, so this was last week, we notified developers using GPT 4.0 latest model snapshot of its deprecation and removal from the API. Okay, so it's going to be removed from the API on the February the 17th. They're recommending you update it to 5.1. Interesting. It's interesting that they've left 3.5, but they're removing 4.0. That's very interesting. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Johnny Walker. I found it. Thanks to you. Wow, they really don't like 4.0, huh? Make of that what you will. Okay, I want to hop across to Google. I've been talking about Google all week, or all of last week, but Google cooked so hard last week that it's hard not to. They released another update, which I think quite a few people missed because they were releasing Gemini 3, Nano Banana Pro, Anti-Gravity, which is really good, by the way, and a bunch of other things. So they have updated Notebook LM. Notebook LM is one of my personal favorite Google products. Not a lot of people know about it. This is the problem with Google. They release so much stuff. They don't really tell people. They don't really make a big fanfare of it. If this was ChatGPT, so OpenAI, they'd be like shouting it from the rooftops that we have this cool new tool. But Google's like, hey, we built something. Try it out if you want. They've added into Notebook LM the ability to generate infographics and the ability to generate slide decks based off of Nano Banana Pro. So here is a slide deck. Let's see if I can pull it up. I haven't looked at this yet. Oh, that's not going to... Okay, we'll do it this way. So this is on Transformers. So I fed it a video about Transformers and asked it to put together a slide deck about Transformers. So let's have a look. The architecture of intelligence, a foundational deep dive into Transformer models. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Okay, wow, this is... This is good. This is really good. I mean, I'd have to go with a fine tooth comb, but this is... I gave it no additional information. I just said, hey, make me a slide deck based on the information you've been provided. And as you can see, it has created very complicated, very detailed diagrams. So this is Nano Banana Pro creating these diagrams, which has allowed it to make a incredibly technical looking presentation. Again, I'd have to go through it to check whether it's making it up, but I'm not seeing anything that is completely nonsense. And the reason, or the way it can do this is... Oh, persistent challenges. That's very cool. The reason it can do this is Nano Banana Pro, it uses the thinking model to decide what's going to be in the image before it creates the image. So a lot of people have been using it to create memes and pictures of celebrities hanging out, etc., etc. I think that's kind of missing the really important point here, which is you can give it a task and it will go away and research what needs to be in that image. That's really cool if you are running a business and you want to create, let's say, a presentation like this, or you want to create infographics or sales material or something that's going to contain not just graphical elements, but also some kind of thought behind it. So you need to decide where those elements are going to go, what kind of supporting text there's going to be, and it allows you to present information in a visual way. And as you're seeing right now with these slides, these are good, extremely good. And this is because Nano Banana Pro has that thinking step where it uses the large language model to work out everything beforehand, then it generates the image. So previously, if you were using Nano Banana before Pro, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go into Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini and talk to it about the type of image you wanted to create. So let's say you're making a comic, you'd say, hey Claude, I want to make a comic explaining transformer architecture. I want it to be a 4-panel comic. The first panel should be blah blah blah, the second panel should be etc. Help me come up with an image prompt. And then you could feed that image prompt into Nano Banana and it would do the job. Now Nano Banana does it all internally. So it would do the thinking, it would do the composition, it would do the text, everything, and then pull it all together and create incredibly impressive images, because this is basically an image that is giving me. Let's hop over to the other one, which is an infographic. Oops. Ah, okay, the infographic is broken apparently, so that one doesn't work. That's a shame, but the slide deck is very good. I'm regenerating the infographic. So Notebook LM is a fantastic tool already, but what they've done is they've now updated it with the ability to create slide decks, and extremely good slide decks. If you've used something like what's it called, PowerPoint's Copilot version of a Copilot AI slide creator, it's rubbish. Whereas this is extremely good. This is a big threat to Gamma, interestingly. Gamma is an AI startup that makes slide decks. This is a problem. I'm sure they're looking at this like, oh God, we might be in trouble here. But again, it requires people to know that this exists, and Google are not very good at marketing it, whereas someone like Gamma is. I don't know why I'm not able to open these images. There seems to be a problem going on. But definitely go and check it out. Notebook LM is fantastic, and it got even better because of these slides. Okay. A few more things on Nano Banana. So Andrej Karpathy is one of the co-founders of OpenAI. Very, very smart guy. I highly recommend his YouTube videos explaining large language models and transformers, just generally for anyone who's interested in this stuff. He doesn't post that much on the internet. Interestingly, for the last few days, he's been like frantically posting about Nano Banana Pro. So he's very impressed. And this is a guy who is top of his game when it comes to artificial intelligence. But he's posting things like a workout that Nano Banana Pro generated for him, which I find really, I don't know, I find it exciting that somebody who is a top-level researcher, a top-level creator of these products, even he's like, this is really cool, look at this. This is really, really cool. And there are certain things that he's highlighted, like this one, for example, which is going to be a big issue. So people have given Nano Banana Pro an exam paper, and Nano Banana Pro is able to fill it all out, including workings, in handwriting, as if it was filling it out like a human being. And you can see one example here, which is mathematics or physics. It looks like physics. Yeah, physics. And then the one at the bottom here looks like chemistry to me. Oh yeah, Chem 121. So it's able to draw these diagrams. It's able to work everything through as if it was a human being. It's even, if you can see here, might not be able to make it out, but it's even kind of sketched things like, you know, on an exam paper when you're not quite sure of something, you might sketch something out before you put it in as a final answer. It's done a little notation here. So this is extremely impressive, and again, it highlights the fact that Nano Banana Pro is not just creating images. It is first going through a thinking stage, a reasoning stage, working things out, and then making images based on what it has created. So Gemini Nano Banana Pro can solve exam questions in the exam page image with doodles, diagrams, all of that. ChatGPT think these solutions are all correct, except for selenium 2p2, whatever it is, diselenium diphosphide, and a spelling mistake. It should be thiocyanate acid instead of thiocyanate. I mean, that's a pretty high-end mistake, to be honest. In my opinion, this is along the lines of how talking to an LLM via text is like typing into a DOS terminal, and GUI hasn't been invented yet, of some of my earlier posts. So Karpathy is suggesting this is maybe the new way that we interact with AIs. It's going to be about letting the AI see what we see, and then allowing them to kind of almost working in the space that we also work in. So right now, everything is mediated through text, us chatting to the AI, talking to it. We are moving towards multimodality very, very quickly. This example here is, I'm sure if you're an educator, very interesting. And we need to look at what we're doing with our education systems, because they are under attack from artificial intelligence, and it is bringing into question how we learn, what we should be learning, and how do we stop people being lazy, and how do we get them through the process of learning when they have every right to say, well, why am I learning this? Because now the AI can do it for me. These are big questions, very big questions. Another example here from Chris Castanova, who works over at Adobe. Very cool. She fed in a menu, very generic menu, buttermilk or buckwheat pancakes, French toast, etc., and had Nano Banana generate images of each of those menu items, so you can upgrade your menus. Funnily enough, when I was in Vietnam. I was in Vietnam earlier in the year, and I noticed most of the menus there had all used AI generated images of their food. And whenever you went on Bolt, which is like their food ordering app, it's all AI generated images, and that has been seemingly totally accepted, and not a problem at all. So this is just the same thing, but with even better images, because we're using Nano Banana 3, which is helpful for something like this, Dutch baby. I wouldn't know what that is, and now there's an image of it. So I imagine we're going to be seeing a lot of that moving forward. There will, of course, be people who say, I want to see a photo of the real food, because I can't trust an AI image, but I think this is going to be increasingly the way that we do things. This was a lovely example that I saw, which I think is a fun thing to do at home. You can talk to Gemini about your career, or hell, you could give it oh no, here we go, download your LinkedIn profile as a PDF. You could copy and paste or grab your LinkedIn profile as a PDF, give it to Nano Banana, and then have it turn your career, your life into a journey. And this one is like a Lord of the Rings style map, which is extremely cool. So University of Wyoming and LSU Shreveport, all the way to Google Cloud Empire up in the mountains. So she works for Google DeepMind. Very cool uses of Nano Banana. Another one, this is Nano Banana Pro Prompt Share. Make a 3x3 grid with different hairstyles. So you can give it a photo of yourself and say, hey, I'm trying to come up with a new hairstyle. Can you help me? And it will. This is Demisa Sabis. They've given him hair. This is probably the original photo here. A lot of our AI leaders don't have much hair, interestingly. And it will give you different styles. So you could also do this with clothing. So you could say, hey, what kind of suit or what kind of dress fits my form? And it would be able to kind of work that out, because again, it has that reasoning model in place beforehand. So it can look at the image, work things out about you. Oh, they've got quite broad shoulders, so this would look good on you, and then it would help you work that out. So there are 1,000,001 AI startup apps that are going to be created from Nano Banana Pro. That'd be an amazing app. One where you take photos of yourself, you upload a couple of photos, and it helps you to generate clothing and colors and styles that match your body type. Maybe it matches you to celebrities who have a similar kind of shape to you, and then it can show you what looks good on them. And then you can buy those clothing via the app, make affiliate cuts, etc., etc. Very cool applications can be made using Nano Banana Pro. I think the kind of most exciting thing here, though, literally is this is now a solved problem. The putting text into AI images, or any text in AI images up until now, has been the dead giveaway, because as soon as you saw an AI image and you saw the garbled letters, you're like, oh, it's AI. That's basically a solved problem. every once in a while we see something a bit garbled, but it's done. That is no longer a problem for artificial intelligence, and we are seeing AI just pushing out and pushing out and pushing out and doing things that we did not think would be possible. There's a couple of kind of AI skeptics I follow over on TikTok, Instagram, etc. who there's one guy in particular who shows people how to identify AI images. And he will zoom in. You've probably seen his videos. He zooms in. He's like, oh, you can see there's some distortion here, or this bit's too in focus, but this bit's out of focus, so that doesn't make sense. And it's very subtle things, because we've moved beyond the, oh, that person has 6 fingers. We're long gone. That's way behind us. So now it's more subtle. But he put out a video, I think yesterday, basically saying, oh, I think this is it. It's going to be practically impossible for most people out there to identify reality and to know whether or not a photo, an image is real or not. And this is a guy who's an expert at it. And he put out this video the weekend saying we no longer know. The only way you can know now is to bring an image back into AI. So Gemini actually has something called, what's it called? Synth AI. I've totally forgotten the name of it. But you can put an image into Gemini and say, hey, is this artificial intelligence? And they have some watermarking, so it will be able to tell you if it's a Gemini Nano Banana Pro image or not. So we are relying on the people creating these images to help us differentiate whether these are AI or not. Not a great position to be in. And I say this as a pro AI person. So we are at the point where reality and artificial intelligence images cannot be differentiated. And that happened last week. That is basically a shift, which we knew was going to arrive eventually, but I think last week, so mid-November 2025, it's done. And we are now at the point where we basically cannot trust any photo that we see, which has big implications for humanity, as you can imagine. And again, as I'm a very pro AI person, but we do need to come to terms with what that means for society as a whole, because it's going to have big effects. We cannot trust what we see anymore. Can you name those TikTokers? No, because I'm terrible at this, but let me try and find him. His stuff's great. AI images, detection. Let me find him. I follow. Oh, there we go. Show Tools AI. Jeremy Carrasco. So this is the video here, and it's got 891,000 views. Ooh, which is. Oh, why is that not working? That's a lot of views. I was dreading this moment. If haven't seen Nano Banana Pro images, please drop what you're doing and look at the demonstrations. So he's basically saying this is it. We are at the point where I don't know why I can't view it. That's very strange. Yeah, go ahead and watch that video, because this is a guy who is skeptical about AI for good reasons, and he's now saying this is it. It's now basically impossible to tell the difference. So AI photos are mostly undetectable now. An honest reaction. Please look at the demos of Nano Banana Pro. Consider reanalyzing how good the new language models are too. Your old tricks probably won't work anymore. This is a guy who's an expert at it. Like really, really good. And all of these videos are him going through and saying this is why it's fake. And he is now saying we are at the point where we don't know. And we need to, as a society, deal with that. We need to work out what that means. And unfortunately, society and government and regulation moves a lot slower than the technological process. So we need to deal with the fallout of that. So go and follow Show Tools AI, Jeremy Carrasco. Really good stuff. Mike saying lots of ships would be launched from Nano Banana. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have so many ideas. This is the problem with all of these technologies and with vibe coding tools now, is that we can whip up prototypes really fast. And it means, well, one, everyone else can. It's very easy to whip up a prototype. But two, it's just a diffraction of focus. Like how what should we be focusing on when we can build so much? It's a good problem to have because we have these tools at our disposal, but it's still a lot to deal with. Most AI avatars reuse the frames. Yep, repeated frames. This way you can look for AI evidence. So AI video is still not a solved problem. It's images, so Nano Banana in particular. So still static photo images. This is where Jeremy Carrasco and others I've read seen are saying, I think that's the ball game, and we can now no longer trust what static images we see. However, we will also get to that with videos. It's just a matter of time. It might be this year. No, it probably won't be this year. There's not much of it left. It might be next year. It might be a couple of years away, but it's going to happen at some point. At some point in the future. Get rid of me. Oh, I can see myself live on TikTok. That's bizarre. Okay. I want to hop over to the UK because there's some interesting stuff going on. I'm not sure whether it's going to be enough, but there's some stuff going on. So if you're in the UK, this is probably of interest. So the AI to power national renewal as government announces billions of additional investment and new plans to boost UK businesses, jobs and innovation. So there's some money. Some money is being spent on artificial intelligence. A major package of new reforms and investment will put AI at the heart of the government's mission. Come on, guys. Get AI to check this. Goodness me. Thousands of new jobs and billions of pounds in investment in AI announced across the UK as a driver for growth, including in Wales, Bristol and London. A new AI growth zone in South Wales, nice, will create more than 5,000 new jobs for local communities over the next decade. It's not many in 10 years, but okay. New opportunities for British AI firms to grow and AI innovation to flourish, expanded free access to compute for British researchers and sciences. Brilliant scientists also backed to use AI with 137 million to drive breakthroughs to develop new drugs, cures and treatments. So there's some money. Here we go. 25 billion. They're being put towards AI. 10 billion investment in South Wales. I think a lot of this is actually data centers though, and data centers don't make many jobs. They create jobs while you are creating the data center, but once you've created it, it's kind of a skeleton staff. It doesn't employ many people because it's just a bunch of servers. But there's something happening. There is money being pushed forward. They've announced a couple of AI ambassadors. So Nobel Prize-winning British Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Oh, MIT. Why are you writing it out like that? That's bizarre. So MIT economist and former chief economist of the IMF, Simon Johnson, will act as a standard bearer with public services and businesses. Monzo co-founder and Y Combinator general partner Tom Blomfield will champion British startups, and Google DeepMind VP of Research Raya Hadsel will champion the UK's place at the forefront of AI innovation. So go and follow all three of them. Interestingly, it's an economist, a business person, and an AI researcher. So I approve of the fact that they have that kind of wide remit. It's also good to see it's not just civil servants. It's not politicians who don't necessarily know what they're talking about, but people with some kind of experience in the industries. Don't quite know what being an ambassador means, but hopefully they have some kind of say in what's going forward. So I'll put this all in the newsletter so you can read through it in detail. There was immediately an article in the BBC. Britain won't beat the US in the AI race, says ex-Google scientist. I mean, I agree. This is a two-horse race. This is between the US and China. The UK is very good at creating researchers, really good at creating researchers and scientists. But as long as the Americans can pay 10 times as much in salaries, it's really hard to retain talent. You can have all the best intentions in the world, but when you are being offered millions to go and work in San Francisco, compared to 100,000 living in London, which is quite an expensive place to live on 100,000 anyway, it's very hard to stick in this country. So even our top teams like DeepMind is a UK company, Demis Hassabis, that was purchased by Google back in 2014 for 400 million, which I think will go down as one of one of the best acquisitions of all time. It seemed like a lot of money back then, but now it is a pittance. So this is Cleon Jones. I hope I'm saying it right. I'm assuming it's Welsh. Who was part of the pioneering Google team that unlocked AI's ability to respond in human form, warned against trying to compete with hyperscalers in the US and China. 100%. So I agree. There's a lot of money can be poured into AI. It's not going to be enough to beat the US or China. It doesn't matter if we repurposed our whole UK economy and put it into AI. That's still not going to be enough. We just don't have the resources to compete on the level with the US and China, unfortunately. It's nice to see some activity, and it's great to see AI being used in UK businesses, but we won't be able to compete on the level of building models and deploying models, not like China and the US. So hopefully that is not the plan, but instead it is to give existing businesses access to artificial intelligence so we can boost our economy that way, instead of trying to become a predominant power in AI, in training AI, in infrastructure, etc. It's just not going to be possible, unfortunately. So what I'll do, I'll put all of this into the newsletter because there's a fair amount of detail about it. Oh, I did want to talk about this guy, Kanishka Narayan, MP. He's the MP for the Vale of Glamorgan, so Wales, and he is the Minister for AI and Online Safety. He put out a video the other day where he's talking about how we have actually got a lot of unicorns, a lot of startup in the UK, mainly London. I don't think he mentions that, but he's saying we need to start using AI, and I 100% applaud him for this. In the video, he gets out his laptop and starts using Cursor, and he vibe codes up a website. And he's also recording the whole thing on his iPhone. I 100% applaud him for this. I think this is wonderful. So you can actually go and visit his website. Where is it? Vibeshift.uk. So he's created this in Cursor. Politicians love to talk the UK down, but UK AI and tech is moving at 100 miles per hour. It's time to shift the narrative, so we're building a dashboard that tracks the UK AI story in real time. We have the largest tech economy in Europe and third largest in the world. We've produced more unicorns than France and Germany combined. Over 160 unicorns took their first steps in the UK. That's quite telling, because then they leave. Tracking the UK AI story, we're making the UK the world's best AI deployment hub. This is cool. Look at this. Oh, so you can drag these little nodes around. I wonder how he made this. Whoops. And each of these is like a little story. So 10 billion South Wales AI growth zone. This is the one we just talked about. Is that connected to things? Cloud? Not. Kind of is, but not really. I thought this was nice. But the fact that an MP sat down with Cursor and actually put together a little project, and it has a GitHub that you can go and visit, I think is really exciting, because at least he understands a little bit about what these technologies can do. This is his repo, and Shift UK is his GitHub. I think this is really sweet. Not many politicians have this level of actually getting their hands dirty. They'll talk about AI because it's the new hotness and they've been briefed on it, but they're not going to be loading up Lovable. They're not going to be loading up Cursor. They probably know how to use ChatGPT, or how does Boris Johnson call it? It's like ChatGPT. But that's going to be about the extent of their AI. So good. Love to see this. Kanishka Narayan MP. And hopefully other MPs can also get their hands dirty. No, it's probably not the best thing to say about UK MPs. Can also start to use these tools and realise what this means for business and what this means for the entrepreneurial economy if we empower our entrepreneurs and we give them access to resources, we help them with funding, etc., combined with AI tools, which is very much what I'm all about. Do you think ChatGPT's images will catch up with Nano Banana technology soon? I mean, yeah, they've got DALL-E 3. Do you know whose images I find the most impressive? I don't say this much, but Grok. So Grok's image generator, which is Flux based, I think, extremely good, extremely fast. Because with Nano Banana, you still have, or Nano Banana Pro, you still have the problem where you put in a prompt and you have to wait a minute or so before you get your image. It's a very good image, but it's quite a time-intensive process when using it via the GUI. You can obviously use the API. It's not cheap. It's about 14 to 25 cents per image, depending if it's 2K or 4K. Grok's image generator, which is Flux-based, is incredibly fast. So you'll put in a prompt, and it will spit out variations, and you can kind of scroll down it, and it will give you 10, 20, 30, 40 variations, basically in real time. Incredibly impressive. DALL-E 3, which belongs or developed by OpenAI, is lagging behind all of them. It's basically unusable because it's so slow and the quality is like substandard. I don't think it's particularly a priority for them. I think for Google, remember that Google have all the images. They have Google Image, so they have already indexed the world's images. They're sitting on a lot of data. ChatGPT and OpenAI, they need to go and scrape all of that stuff, legally or not. It's a bit grey area, not legally or against terms of services. So they are at a disadvantage when it comes to data and training. I just don't think it's a priority for them because they are already known as the major model. Whereas for Gemini, Nano Banana, the first one that came out, actually pushed Gemini into the public perception for the first time. It took them to the top of the App Store globally. And people realized that, oh, Google actually have an AI. Google have their own ChatGPT, which was a huge coup for them. So I think it's more important for Google because it's image models and video models that actually bring in the public, bring in people who aren't thinking about large language models every single day and get them to start using it. And we're starting to see the shift from ChatGPT towards Google. It's a slow shift, but because Google's ChatGPT started with such a dominant lead over the last couple of years, it's now up to Google, Anthropic, and XAI to chip away at that lead. And Google seem to be doing the best, in part because of Nano Banana bringing the public in. Need to use AI to overhaul the public sector. HMRC, DWP, NHS, be more efficient. Yeah, I've been struggling with HMRC websites the last few days, and my God. I've just downloaded their new... Because there seem to be about 4 or 5 different logins now. There's a Gov1, there's a... God, I mean, don't get me started. Over the weekend, I was trying to verify my ID with Gov1 so that I could get into my gov.uk account to access my HMRC in order to do something with my self. Like, there were so many layers, and then the app didn't work because it wanted me to upload my army ID. I don't have an army ID because I was not in the army. So there were so many layers of cruft that need to get cut through. That said, we do actually have quite a decent digital infrastructure, governmental infrastructure compared to most other countries. It's just... yeah, still very frustrating. The problem with having a good digital infrastructure, though, is that you then remove all of the people. So you can't actually just ring them up and say, hey, can you help me? Because whenever I ring HMRC, they're just like, oh, we've sent you an email with how to do this online. It's like very, very frustrating. What about GoDaddy Air to make websites? I don't trust anything GoDaddy do, honestly. Sorry, I don't like GoDaddy. GoDaddy spend so much money on marketing and not enough money on their product. So I've never had good experiences with GoDaddy. I have not used GoDaddy Air, but if it's anything like any of their other GoDaddy products, I imagine it's not very good. Did they buy it? Because in the same way that Wix purchased Base 44, so they purchased a vibe coding tool to basically build it into Wix. I wouldn't be surprised if GoDaddy did something similar, but I don't rate anything that GoDaddy do. I have not used Air, but I'm going to assume it's not very good. Sorry if that's wrong. Okay, last thing, and then I'm going to jump off. This is for anyone in the UK in particular. This is very cool, and I haven't seen enough people talking about this. So it's Movember right now for the next week or so. I only just heard about this, annoyingly. But if you use Nano Banana to generate a picture of yourself with a mustache, very important, and you post it, and you use the hashtag JennaMo or Movember, then Google is going to give £11 to Movember, which is not nothing. Not nothing at all. So if we can get a bunch of us all doing this, and I'm going to do some social videos about this later, we can get some decent cash flowing into this charity, because Google have said that they will give £11 per image who uses this. So if you are in the UK and you have Nano Banana and you have social media, then all you need to do is you jump onto Gemini, you upload a selfie, and then you copy and paste the following prompt. I don't know if it really matters, but sure, that's there. It will create a photo of you with a mustache, looking fabulous, I'm sure, and then upload it and tag Google UK and Movember. Every single person who does that will lead to £11. So if we get 1,000 people who do that, that's 11 grand will go to Movember. So it's kind of an easy way to donate quite a lot of money to Movember, up to 1 million. So what's that? 90,000. If we can get 90,000 people to do this, we can get £1 million sent over to Movember. We've got a week to do it. Cool. So I just want to flag that up. I'll shoot out some videos about that as well, because I think this is a very easy win. Awesome. Righty-ho. So I'm going to finish up. So, as always, everything is available in the newsletter. So the newsletter has a written summary of everything that we covered. Let me pull this one up, including the resources. So for today, I'll give you the kind of UK announcements about AI UK. It has supplemental videos, it has tweets, etc. So you can follow everything up. And it also includes, when you ask a question, I'll add it in here with a quick answer as well. So that is a free newsletter. It comes out every single day, and it's going to be a summary of what's just been covered the day before. Also, make sure you are subscribed to YouTube. YouTube is almost at 10,000. We're so close, 9,450. So I want to hit 10,000 before Christmas. It should be fine. I think we're going to be okay. So please go and support over there on YouTube, subscribing, and on the newsletter, subscribing. That'd be really awesome. There are also lots of tools available on the website. Things like a quiz, which helps you work out what AI business you should start, and some other ones as well. I'm building a whole bunch more, and I'm going to release them all there for free. So make sure you check it out. And then we have the catalogue of playbooks. This includes maybe 100+ playbooks going through practical uses of artificial intelligence to start and grow businesses. That is all available on the website. This is a vibe-coded website that I'm putting together bit by bit by bit. It has some really cool stuff in here, actually. This has been my pet project. So yeah, make sure you come and check it out. And I will see you tomorrow on the live around 10-11 a.m. UK time. Hopefully we'll be talking about Claude Opus 4.5. We'll see. It's been a busy week. Maybe we can have a breather this week. Thanks, guys.